So it's still crazy to me that you can go in the library manager of the Arduino IDE and type in ESP Canary, all one word, and hit enter, and you will actually see my library that I wrote. This library is a tool that will help you turn a normal ESP8266 or ESP32 into what they call a honeypot. It sits on your network and looks for someone snooping around and alerts you if it detects anything. But that's not why we're here. I've got a video on how to build that on my other channel. I'll link to that in the description. But the big thing is, how did I get my library in the Arduino IDE? You see, I do a lot of Arduino tutorials, and it always feels kind of ghetto to me to tell people, all right, well, download this zip file and manually install it into your Arduino IDE and hope that there's no conflicts or anything like that. So I want to talk to you today about what it would take to actually get your library into the Arduino IDE. It's not difficult, but it's not obvious either. You want people to be able to come in, install your library, update it, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about how to do that right now. So the two things you're going to need to really get started are a GitHub account, and you need an actual library. I can't sit here and tell you how to write your library, but I can help you get into the Arduino IDE. So this is my repository, github.com/mudmin ESP Canary. You're welcome to kind of use it as a little template for how to do this. And you'll see that in addition to my actual library files, I've set up an example that I feel like is pretty well documented. If you go in here, I really wanted to explain how all this stuff works and all that. I think that's good practice. But in order to get into the Arduino IDE, you need these two specific files. One is the library.json and the other one is the library.properties. So this is the library.properties file that needs to be included in your library. And it is essential that you include every single one of these lines that's in here. So you have the name of your library, your version number, use normal version numbers, 1.0.0, 0.9.0, things like that. You want an author, ideally with an email address. You want a maintainer, ideally with an email address. I really suggest you not skip these. You need a one-sentence description of what your library does and a sentence or a paragraph. I need to do better and update this. You need to give it a category, the URL to your Git repository, which is this right up here. And then you need to tell it which architectures this thing is made to work on so that it can disable it if you're trying to run it on a regular Arduino or some STM board that you're not compatible with. The second file is the library.json file, and I believe this file can be generated automatically by the crawler. And in fact, if you look in here, you'll see that I have some inconsistencies with my library properties file. So I'm going to update this and make this more consistent with the other one. Once you've created your actual library and you've made an example or two to show people how to use it, and you've created at least your library.properties file and optionally a README and license file, it's time to make a release so that you can be accepted into the Arduino IDE. What they expect you to have is a tag and a release, and it's not 100% obvious how to do that, so I'm going to explain that. I am going to come in here to my library.properties and I'm going to increment my version number to 2.0.2 because that's the next version. And then I'm going to make a commit. And I'm just going to say that I am cleaning up library properties. And I'm going to push that. Fantastic. So now I'm going to go back to GitHub. Now there's some ways that you could do this from the command prompt, but I've honestly had some issues doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to the releases section and I'm going to create a new release. Now the thing is, this needs to be a release and a tag, and I've found the best way to do it is to do them both at the same time. Now I just incremented my version in the code to 2.0.2 and I'm adding a V in front of these, so we're going to keep that consistent. So I'm going to come over here to draft a new release, and then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to give it a title, and I'm going to say V 2.0.2, and that matches for consistency the way that I've done the other releases. And I'm going to say now fires off on command line FTP attempts. Easy peasy. And I am going to tag this version. I'm going to click this and I'm going to put V2.0.2 2.0.2 right here. So I'm doing my tag, my release, and my description all at once. And I'm going to publish this release. Now that I've had that, since I am already in the Arduino IDE, about once an hour, their crawler goes around and looks for updated versions and will pull the new version into the Arduino IDE. It could take up to 24 hours, but for the most part, I've seen it happen in about an hour. So once you're absolutely positive your code works and you have your tag, you have your release, and those two match the number that is in your library properties, then you're going to go ahead and head over to GitHub Arduino. And I'm going to visit that, and I'm going to go to the Issues tab. Now, as you can see, when you come in here and you look at the open issues, there are these things that are tagged Library Manager, add the Ardu library, and asking people come in here and they create a new issue asking people to add themselves to the library. Now, one of the things that I would encourage you to do is to look at the ones over here that have comments on them, because that means that somebody has taken a look at this, but for one reason or another, they were not added to the library. So if I were to click on this one, which I've never done before, I can look at the description and they're going to say there's a problem with your library's metadata, which would prevent it. And so you can kind of come in here and look at what problems people have had getting added to the Arduino IDE. And once you've kind of gotten an idea and double checked and triple checked and made sure that everything is good, then you can come in here and you can have a new you can create a new issue, and you would come in here and type in library manager, and you would say, hey, will you please add this library to the Arduino IDE? You're going to give a link to your GitHub, and you're going to maybe give a quick explanation of what it does, and then basically wait anywhere from a day to a week to see what it will take to get yourself added into the Arduino IDE. What I've found is that the people have been extremely helpful. When I've missed things, they've come in, they've told me what I've missed, they've pointed to documentation telling me how to fix these things, and so I found the people here to be extremely helpful. Another link that I will link in the description is this guide, which is their library specification. And you can see that in here, in terms of things like category, I had mine as communication, but you may decide that you want a different category. There's just a lot of information about how to add multiple authors and how to deal with URLs and all the different things that you might want to know. So I strongly encourage you to refer to this documentation. So I went away for a couple of hours and came back, and now if I type in ESP Canary in the library manager, you'll see that I have version 2.1 installed, and I have this update button, so I can click the update, and I have been given the latest version. So that's all it took. I appreciate you guys watching, and encourage you to subscribe to this channel and my other channel, Another Maker, and hey, have a great day. Thanks for watching.